As a watercolor artist, probably one of the things that I tackle the most is what colors work well together in a painting. Because let's be honest, if you have a great drawing, you have great supplies, great paper, great paints, but you don't know how to choose your paint colors, your painting is really going to struggle and you're really going to find yourself stressed out for really no reason. So, how do we use this color wheel that we've been building over the past couple of weeks as a guide for helping us choose colors specifically in this particular lesson that are not on our color wheel? That's what we're going to be looking at today. As most of you know, over the past couple of weeks, we have been building a functional color wheel. Basically taking your own paints and building from primaries to secondaries to tertiary colors. Now that we finally have our color wheels set up, they can be used as guides to help us determine what colors, even if they're not on our color wheel, actually work well with one another. And today I'm going to show you how to do just that by painting this fun little cute dinosaur. And I'm going to be doing this with a color that I want to play around with, but it's not included in my color wheel. And I've actually never really played around a lot with this color. So this is going to be a new journey for me as well. And I'm basically going to walk you through how I use my color wheel to help figure out what colors work best with this new paint color that I've never used before. So the very first thing that I want to do is figure out where this new color is located on my current color wheel. So after swatching Permanent Violet, I basically landed it between Quintardone Lilac and Winsor Violet on my traditional color wheel. This tells me that its complementary or contrasting color is most likely going to fall between Winsor Lemon as well as New Gamboge. Now, the next thing that I need to do is start testing combinations. The very first thing I'm going to do is swatch Permanent Violet with Winsor Lemon, and then swatch Permanent Violet with New Gamboge. And for me, out of the two combinations that I mixed, I personally liked Permanent Violet with New Gamboge. It just felt richer and more dynamic. So that is the combo that I am planning to move forward with. Now, I do want to say, let's say you were swatching these colors and you didn't really like what you were getting. Here's a quick tip for you to help you figure out what color would work best. If the first combo that you painted and swatched up doesn't work, line up your paints in a rainbow spectrum and try swatching colors that are close to the color that you currently just swatched. So in this case, a color that is close to New Gamboge would be Green Gold, Leaf Green, and two colors that are close to Winsor Lemon would be Cadmium Lemon as well as Indian Yellow. This will give me a wider kind of range to figure out what colors I might want to partner together. But also another thing that I like to think about is, does these color properties work well together? So for me, Permanent Violet and New Gamboge actually worked really well together, but let's say they created a weird granulation that you kind of were iffy about. It might be because those two paint properties are actually mixing strangely together and creating that texture. So just choosing another paint color will actually help you get out of that weird granulation texture and get more into a smooth mingling combo. So once you have your two colors kind of picked out, there's another step that we need to think about, especially since we're using a limited color palette. And in this case, we're using a contrasting color palette. For this step, we need to think about glazing. Watercolor isn't just about mixing wet and wet together, or basically making those colors mingle and harmonize together on your paper. Watercolor is also very, very reliant on how you are layering your colors, or basically glazing them on top of one another. If you have two colors that work really well together, you're going to be able to create really nice depth as well as vibrancy in your painting, and basically add another element to your illustration besides just the wet on wet or wet on dry technique. So for me personally, when I am choosing a glazing color, I try to find a transparent or semi-transparent color that would work well for glazing on top. If you choose an opaque color or even a semi-opaque color, know that your layers might look a little bit chalky or basically heavy. So for me, Permanent Violet is a semi-opaque color, which actually does work well if it's diluted. Even though it's opaque, if we dilute it enough, it will be see-through and transparent enough to be used as a layer. New Gamboge is a semi-transparent color that actually would work perfect for glazing. However, I need to keep in mind that since New Gamboge is going to be my primary color for glazing, my dinosaur is going to have more of yellow hues and tints or warmer tints than necessarily those purple or pink tints. So this is something else to keep in mind when you're choosing colors. Now, for me personally, I felt like New Gamboge and Permanent Violet were really nice together, mingling in that wet on wet, but they didn't quite give me the depth and variety that I wanted with glazing. So I felt like I needed to expand my palette a little bit more. And the way I did that is I looked at my neighboring colors to Permanent Violet. They're going to give me more of those pinks or purples that I'm desiring. So two colors that are close, of course, to my Permanent Violet is Quinterdone Lilac. This particular color is transparent as well as non-granulating, which means it's going to be great for glazing and also for smooth flat washes. Windsor Violet is my next color that I could choose. This one is also transparent, which means it's going to be great for glazing. It's definitely going to go more into my darker tones. So basically those deeper purpley black kind of colors. So for me, I decided to use Windsor Violet as my third color in my color palette. So personally, I felt like this combination of these three colors created a very balanced, dynamic palette that both had bold contrast as well as luminous glazes. So here's the big takeaways from this particular video. The very first thing you need to realize is your color wheel is a guide. It's not this strict rule book that needs to be completely remodeled every single time you add a new color. It's basically to help you and guide you on what colors you already really enjoy in your palette and how they work well together. The next thing that you need to know is that if you are adding a new color to your color wheel, it's pretty easy to just kind of swatch and guess where that would be located on your color wheel and basically place it as close as possible to the hues that would line up with that particular color you're adding. The next thing that you're going to do is test contrasting colors with this particular pairing that you like. And the last thing that we really need to consider when we're formulating our new color palette, especially when we're working with a super limited one such as 2 or 3 colors, is does this have a good glazing power to it? So the next time you really fall in love with a new color, and let's be honest with each other, anytime you go to a paint store or you look on a online store for watercolor paints, you're typically going to find a new color that you're like, I want to try that. You really don't need to stress about trying to figure out exactly where it is on the color wheel. You simply need to work with pairing it as best as possible with the colors that you already have, and then basically sorting out contrasting colors that would pair well with it. Hey everyone, sorry that this video took so very long to get out. My whole family got the stomach bug, and it was honestly, unfortunately, one of us ended up in the hospital, so it was a pain in the neck. But everybody's fine now. Everybody's good. But yeah, it was an ordeal. So that's the reason why this video is coming out a little bit late. So thank you so much for your patience and all the comments on the last video. I wanted to show you before I left. This is the final painting that I did today for y'all, and just showing you how contrasting colors could mix together. I wanted to show you though, just to be fully transparent, a lot of times I do 2 paintings for my animals basically. One is like an experiment one, and then one is the final painting. But this one I did 3 because I wasn't fully happy with it. So this is the third one. This was the final where I made the back scales or spines, I guess, lighter, and I really like that you could see it more. This was the one that I was thinking about doing. I still really like the watercolor mixing and patterns in this one, but I feel like you can't see the difference as much. So that's kind of a learning thing for y'all. And then this is my first one, and I want to just show you like the difference, because I feel like a lot of times we always show the final product and we don't show like the one that we're working on to just kind of see how it looks. So this one, it's not bad, but this was me just playing around. So a lot of times when I first started painting, I literally just do whatever I want to, whatever I feel like doing, because this is how you learn. You need to make crummy art in order to get better. And so I played around with glazing on this. I played around with just different, even color textures. This is Quinterdone Lilac instead of the Windsor Violet. And I really didn't like how red it was turning. Maybe y'all like that, but I personally didn't. So I went to the Windsor Violet. I actually switched gears. But yeah, this is kind of an idea of how I go about planning, so you know all of that. Now getting back to the last video. This was the last video, and I asked y'all to name this tiger, and since tiger starts with a T, I wanted it to start with T, but the name that I kept seeing was Tallulah, and I really like that name. I'm really big about looking into name like origins and also name meanings. And so Tallulah, I looked up. First off, I really liked it. I liked the flow of it and the feel of it for a tiger. I thought that was cute. But I thought it was cool that its Native American origin meaning basically for it was leaping water, which tigers love water. So I felt like this was a really good name for this tiger. So that is what we're going to be calling our tiger, Tallulah. Now, if you want to name this little guy next, he is a Stegosaurus, I believe is how you say the name. Words are hard sometimes, but I think this is Stegosaurus. And since it starts with an S, let's come up with S names for him or her. You can just leave comments down below. And stay tuned for the next episode that's coming out. It might be a little bit of time. I got half of that painting done as well as half of the script done. And the stomach bug put my family way far behind. So sorry for the lengthy end of video explanation, but I think y'all would really like to hear that as well as kind of thoughts on the final painting. Anyway, lots of love, y'all. Happy painting, and I will see you next time. Bye.